Oh.
If you couldn't tell by the obvious easy mode marker at the top of this video, I wasn't exactly thrilled to get to the two Bowser's boss fight. There's a lot of reasons why this appearance sucks. One is that it's built up terribly by doing the TTYD thing of just dumping challenge after puzzle after boss on your head in the final level, either forcing you to be really lucky or to be stalked into paralysis with healing items. And in Paper Jam's case, most of this bullshit is there because the two Bowsers simply believe they were too amazing at what they do to bother defeating the Mario crew personally. The entire final walk to this final boss is literally the two Bowsers standing at the end of the hallway, arms crossed and bitching about how nothing can kill the heroes, and with everything out of the way, they finally have to take the long-awaited action of killing them themselves. At least when Bowser was in Paper Mario, he at least wanted to try and take over the world. In Paper Jam, it looks like taking over the world is just not worth the effort to do so to these two. And a second reason to follow up with that is that the two Bowsers are just fucking annoying characters with the whole self-superiority crap up to 11 even when all their ideas are screwing up in every way possible. A good final reason is that the combat is the absolute flat-out worst. Okay, it's not as bad as Caricatures Soul, but it's right up there. I don't even remember having this many problems when I fought Dreamy Bowser back in Dream Team. The two Bowsers first of all have a two-phase fight where you fight both of them at the start, where they throw out their flame breath, which is hard to dodge, but also doesn't hurt that much. Plus, it's easier for Paper Mario to deal with when they have the ability to throw out a storm of spike balls. A whole lot of them miss, and the ones that don't are reasonably easy to counter, and when you do, the two Bowsers get smacked in the face for big damage. Don't waste your big attack on this part of the phase, and simply try to bleed your way to the next part with regular attacks. Maybe a couple bros ones if you're feeling saucy, because those two attacks are the only thing this phase has got to hand. Once the two Bowsers take enough metal spheres to the face, the next phase begins where Paper Bowser takes his obviously inferior role to the original and becomes his cardboard armor. What the hell is with this game and cardboard? The cardboard armor does the typical Alpha Dream thing of providing the boss with only limited vulnerability, and the cardboard armor is kind of high health. At least big enough to be really annoying if you were playing this final boss normally, because in the spirit of Caricatures Soul, Bowser will only be vulnerable for 2 turns after his armor is destroyed. It gives you some time to get out special attacks if you aren't forced to heal from his ridiculously painful attack repertoire, which is the big issue with this entire game. If you make the attack so hard to deal with that the player is always spending their time healing up, how are they supposed to beat the boss? Some of you will say, get good, but some of you can also shut the hell up. Like I said, Bowser in this phase has access to a crazy amount of abilities. Thankfully not a healing spell like Dreamy Bowser had, but still he does get to shoot crap into the sky to fall down on Mario and Luigi and Mario. This one's a bit easier to deal with since you can see the shots coming and it's more about a memorization thing than actual timing. Then there's Bowser's charge attack, which sends all the brothers to the side of the screen and forces them to run through a gambit of enemies and needing to hammer them to death to avoid the attack. This one is an annoying one to deal with due to the need to balance running away with correctly timing several hammer bros with a tiny margin of error. Something a bit different is Bowser's jump attack, which seeks to crush the Mario brothers underfoot. You have to identify which brother is about to hit beforehand. This can get a bit tricky, and then hammer Bowser away to counter. You'll have to do this about 5 or 6 times to get the full deal. It's an easier counter attack because you are allowed a bit of time to see the attack coming if you figured out which brother was the one under the spotlight. Then there's Bowser's background attack, which essentially throws a lot of garbage at you until you die. This one was impossible to deal with, so just take the damage and move on. And finally, Bowser will steal a page from the Mario crew and summon his one trio attack where he'll flatten the brothers into sheets and Bowser will breathe fire at them. This will happen around 6 to 8 times and the damage is big if you screw this up, which is easier to do in this attack, but not as easy in his background attack. And like with other bosses, Bowser will also go into rage mode, increasing attack frequency and damage at health, and he will kill you, wasting that 20-minute attempt, and then you'll quit the game as your final revenge for how terrible this game's ending is. There's not even any satisfaction when you get the ending cutscene because nothing epic happens. And it's simply the obvious ending. Paper Bowser goes back home, Bowser's castle implodes, and Bowser gets lost in the countryside somewhere only to appear in another plot that goes nowhere 20 minutes later, because that's what the Mario series is now apparently, just repeating the same idea over and over again until the heat death of the universe. At this point, Mario should just give up like Link should have, because Bowser and Ganondorf are immortal enemies who will never die and will never give up, which means their victory is inevitable. Just stand aside and let Bowser have Princess Peach. Sure, she was good for a couple decent goofs in Paper Jam, but that's just not worth it. Fuck this game, and fuck this horrible rendition of the Bowser Charleston.